flinch. He's Hacker.
Talk about a fried egg. I lasted about 5 minutes out there. I said, to heck with this. I'll do this in the morning. And I don't have any inside information. The lady that did it, she got in there. She made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Wednesday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, 1010XL 92.5 FM with Aaron Williams. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Glad you are with us on a Wednesday that finds us, well, one day closer to Super Bowl 60. New England and Seattle comes up this Sunday out in Santa Clara, California. We will certainly talk about that game the more we get closer to it. Final game on the NFL schedule come Monday. Everybody's back to 0-0, and it's all eyes ahead on the 2026 campaign. Speaking of that, we are 3 weeks away from the NFL Scouting Combine, and we are just over a month away from NFL free agency. So we will talk a lot about that tonight. Former Jaguar Pro Bowl offensive tackle Leon Searcy joins us coming up in about 15 minutes or so. Also, Garrett Padell of CBSSports.com out in San Francisco. He will join us towards the top of the 9 o'clock hour. Want to get into some Jaguar stuff, want to get into some NFL stuff, want to get into some Super Bowl stuff. And have you seen some NBA trades that have gone down? We talked about this last night. In fact, we were on the air last night when James Harden got traded from the Clippers to the Cavaliers. Well, today, Anthony Davis is on the move from Dallas to the Washington Wizards, thus solidifying the fact that Dallas's trade of Luka Doncic is the worst trade in the history of the NBA. Because all they basically got was Anthony Davis in return for that, and they have thus now shipped Davis to Washington and didn't get a whole heck of a lot in return. So they basically gave away Luka Doncic for peanuts. Anthony Davis goes to Washington. And now all of a sudden, if you're Washington, when everybody's healthy, they got Trae Young 2 weeks ago, and they got Anthony Davis. You could do a lot worse than that as the Washington Wizards look to rebuild there in the nation's capital. So a little bit on the NBA trade deadline. The deadline is tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern time. Just left Little League practice, by the way, before we dive into the big deal of the night. Little Hack starting season number 2 of Little League, and he's providing the veteran leadership. All right, there comes a time in every 5- and 6-year-old T-ball club out there where you need the younger kids to be able to learn from the older generation. And that's what Little Hack was providing tonight. Out at T-ball, he was teaching them the ropes, teaching them where to line up, where to throw the ball to, where first base is. It was pretty eye-opening. Little Hack really taking an advanced role there, providing the veteran leadership for the Mud Dogs over there in Mandarin. So it was cool to see him do that as T-ball is back underway for all the parents out there in Northeast Florida that know what I'm talking about in that regard. Every night on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And Aaron Williams, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal? What is the big deal?
No, but it is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
Also have a shout out to do tonight, Aaron. Miss K that I saw at the store today. She's a loyal 1010XL listener. I'm all about the shameless self-promotion. So I was wearing the Hacker apparel at the store today. And she recognized me and said she listens almost every night and listens to almost every show on 1010XL. So Miss K, if you're out there, give you a shout out. It was nice to meet you earlier today over in the Mandarin area. First Wednesday in February. That's where we're at today. National Signing Day. First and foremost, let me say this right now. Congratulations to every young man and young woman in our area that signed on the dotted line today with a college. Regardless of the sport, if you are an athlete here in Northeast Florida and you signed today on National Signing Day, an absolute congratulations to you. That is a remarkable achievement that you get to continue your academic career with your athletic career at the next level. So kudos to you. That is absolutely awesome. From a college football sense, though, from what we do every day on Sports Talk Radio, and I guess I'm talking more to my age and maybe older. Aaron, I'll get to you in a moment. You're about a decade younger than me, so I'm curious your thoughts on this. The first Wednesday in February used to be one of the biggest days on the sports calendar. If you were a Gator, a Seminole, a Bulldog, a Volunteer, a Crimson Tide, a War Eagle, a Hurricane, man, it started at 7 a.m. It went for a good 12 to 15 hours. We were locked into ESPNU or ESPN or your local sports radio station as kids were at the podium with 4 different hats, and they chose a hat and they chose your team, and it was such an enormous deal, National Signing Day. And I was in this world about a decade ago when I covered recruiting on a southeastern basis, basically from Texas as far north as Virginia over to Florida, and I talked to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kids over a 3-year period. And National Signing Day for me in 2016, 17, and 18 was basically my Super Bowl when it came to work. I mean, that was an enormous deal for what I did in covering recruiting. I bring this up to ask you, the diehard Gator fan listening, Seminole fan, Bulldog fan, Hurricane fan, how many of you even knew it was National Signing Day before I just said that? Probably some of you didn't, right? It's one of the problems with where we are now in college football. With the early signing period, with the transfer portal, the first Wednesday in February has been crushed and shattered and is basically irrelevant now on the college football calendar. And it's a shame, because as I was telling Baloo there on the 2-minute drill, when I would get out of Mandarin Middle School, when I was even that young, and I was, 13, 14 years old, certainly when I went to Wolfson High School, and I was old enough to drive, my junior, senior year, 2001, 2002, I would hop in my car, I would turn on Frangie and the Sports Fix, or I would turn on the Bad Show with Baloo, and I would listen for 3 hours with Jamie Newberg providing analysis, and Florida's getting this kid, and Florida State's getting that kid. I'll never forget the day I thought Florida was going to get both Anquan Bolden and Nick Maddox. And ultimately, Florida State got both of them, and I was distraught. And it was hilarious at the time because I had never seen Nick Maddox or Anquan Bolden play, but I had been hearing the buildup and the talk about these guys for weeks and months on end, and it all culminated with National Signing Day. But unfortunately now we no longer have that. Aaron, you're 10 years younger than me. Does the term National Signing Day mean anything to you?
Oh, of course. I mean, it was, I'm only in 2012 was when I graduated high school. I mean, it was a big day then. I mean, and seeing some of the guys that I played with, seeing them sign on the dotted line, it was a big thing.
And you played and went to Nice.
I did play. I didn't play college football, unfortunately. Had a leg injury. Decided not to keep pursuing it. But
I didn't play college football, but because I wasn't any good.
No, I'm not saying that. I definitely was good, but I don't like to toot my own horn. But I mean, to answer your question, it was a huge day. It was a huge day. Like seeing some of the people that I played with. guys before me, guys like Max Chapman, Matt Baroth, a couple guys went to Virginia Tech, some guys went to Northwestern, things like that. And like you said, now it's completely different. It's not, we're a different age in college football now, and it's unfortunate. It's sad to see.
I miss National Signing Day. I really do. And you could say, well, they have it in December. It's not the same. It's not the same. You got the playoff going on. Nobody's really caring about high school kids and where they're going in December. February was a standalone entity after the season. It was an enormous deal, and it has just completely gone to the wayside, and I miss it. And this goes into my big deal of the night, the broader topic here, and I got to go quick. Look, I am a college football fan. I would think an overwhelming majority of you are that are listening to Hacker After Dark tonight. Whether you're a Gator or a Seminole, a Hurricane or a Bulldog or any other team out there, I would think most of us involved either as hosts on 1010XL or you as the great listeners we have on 1010XL are college football fans to some degree. And I will continue to be a college football fan. But I got to tell you, man, where we're at in college football right now is concerning to me. And it's been concerning to me for the last few years, and it's getting more and more concerning as the years go by. You go tell the older generation 10 years ago when they were living and dying with everything going on Saturday afternoons, and you say, hey, 10 years from now, we're going to have free agency in college football. Players can transfer to 2 or 3 or 4 schools during their college eligibility. You're going to have players that basically are calling the shots, in some instances getting coaches fired, following coaches to different jobs. Players are going to be making millions of dollars in some instances. I don't know how that would have been received 10 or 15 years ago. I don't know how it's being received now. I think we're all still fans, right? But you got to admit, it is different. It's a different world that we live in. Prime example, you realize Oklahoma State, I'm just using them as an example because they're the biggest. They have 54 players on their team today on February the 4th that were not on their team when the season ended. 54. You look at LSU, 40 guys on the team now that were not there 2 months ago. Ole Miss, 29. Penn State, 36. Kentucky, 29. Auburn, 39. And that's not even the new freshmen. Those are just guys that they got out of the portal. You turn on your TV on Saturday, you have no idea who these teams are. I remember back in the day, you had a pretty good understanding who was on what team in the SEC or the ACC because they were there for 3, 4, even 5 years. Not anymore. It's a different world. Is it worse now than it was a decade ago? I would imagine some of you think that. Maybe some of you don't. But it is certainly different. I'll say again, I will remain a college football fan. I love it. I love it with a passion. That's a big part why I do what I do. I'm such a sports fan, and I get lucky enough to talk with you guys about it every night here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. But days like today, National Signing Day, and so many things going on in the portal and NIL and all of this stuff. Is it good for college football? I don't know. Certainly is different. Different can sometimes mean good. Different can sometimes mean not very good. That is for you to determine. I'm just throwing it out there. That on a day like today, National Signing Day, which was such a big deal for all of us not that long ago, it's completely gone to the wayside. And to me, it's pretty unfortunate. 904-641-1010 on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Your thoughts always welcome here on a Wednesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. Coming up next, let's get in to the Super Bowl. Let's get into the Pro Bowl last night. I guess that's what you call it. What a bizarre situation that's become. I want to talk about the Pro Bowl with a former Pro Bowler. What does Leon Searcy think? It used to be a badge of honor to go to the Pro Bowl. You used to lay it on the line to be called a Pro Bowler. Is that the case anymore? You saw Devin Lloyd in a Jaguar uniform last night as a Pro Bowler. Is that the last time we're going to see Devin Lloyd in a Jaguar uniform? And let's talk Seattle and New England in Super Bowl 60. Former Jaguar offensive tackle Leon Searcy joins us next on a Wednesday night here in Northeast Florida with Aaron Williams. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Jacksonville, we're glad you're with us. It's Hacker After Dark.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
Naturally, you've heard of me. Us.
They are the Trill.
Actually, we're twins.
Mornings
Well, if we ever make a show called Rejects, we'll know where to look.
on 1010XL.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Hello, I'm Ed Jackson, president of Ned Jackson Income Tax. Ned Jackson Income Tax has been preparing tax returns in Jacksonville for over 80 years. Our tax preparers at Ned Jackson Income Tax have years of knowledge and experience to help you get your highest possible tax refund and are fully trained on all IRS updates, including the One Big Beautiful Bill. Visit one of Ned Jackson's 4 locations, including our downtown office at 255 North Liberty Street. That's Ned Jackson Income Tax, 356-0349.
Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, congratulating our Scholar Athlete of the Week, Annie Craig Charnley, senior basketball player at Wilson High. Annie is the co-president of the National Honor Society and is on the AB Honor Roll and the AP Scholar Award.
Let's talk about the sound no homeowner wants to hear. Drip, drip, drip. Still dripping. That's exactly why Duck Duck Rooter created the Love Your Pipes promotion. Plumbing problems don't scare us. Not with years of experience and honest upfront pricing on our side. Right now, you can get free plumbing assessment on all fixtures with any paid plumbing service. It's the smart move to fix the issue now before it becomes bigger. So when you're stuck, call the Duck, 904-862-6769, duckduckrooter.com.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When mice and rats show up in your home or business, they can be a real pain. You need them out fast, before they have time to multiply. Terminix knows how to shut down rodents and will keep them from coming back to wreak more havoc. When rodents show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a rodent problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online just like I did. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com.
There's joy in every RV journey. Your journey starts at the Jacksonville RV Mega Show, Thursday, February 5th through Sunday the 8th at the Jacksonville Equestrian Center. It's Northeast Florida's largest RV show with hundreds of RVs on display with lifestyle booths. Adults $10, kids under 12 free. Seniors get $1 off Thursday. Military and first responders get $1 off every day. Thursday through Saturday from 10 to 5, Sunday 10 to 4. The Jacksonville RV Mega Show at the Jacksonville Equestrian Center.
Welcome to Key Buick GMC, proudly family-owned and operated since 1943. Come see why they're North Florida's new and pre-owned truck center, conveniently located on Southside and JTB, just minutes from the St. John's Town Center. At Key Buick GMC, every new vehicle comes with our lifetime powertrain warranty. Key Buick GMC, we are professional grade. Online at keybuickgmc.com. Lifetime powertrain warranty covers engine, transmission, drivetrain only. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
Make Capital Glass and Shower Doors your premier choice for top quality glass solutions. With over 40 years of expertise, their team specializes in commercial and residential projects. From elegant shower doors to modern frameless enclosures, they've got you covered. But that's not all. They also offer glass railing systems, glass wine cabinets, and much more. For unmatched quality and service, choose Capital Glass and Shower Doors. Your vision, their expertise. Visit online at capcoglass.com.
What's up, Duval? I'm Chad Valamek, owner of Purple Heart Pools, Jacksonville's veteran-owned pool company for over 10 years. We specialize in new pool construction and pool renovations, built on military values, integrity, communication, attention to detail, and honor. Now is the perfect time to start your pool project, so when the heat hits, your pool is ready. As an Iraq War veteran and Purple Heart recipient, pride in what I do is everything. Let me show you the difference in how my team and I execute your pool project with military precision. Call Purple Heart Pools, Jacksonville's veteran pool company.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. Super Bowl 60 comes up on Sunday. The Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks. Who would have ever thought those two teams would be the last two teams standing? Yet here we are. Let's talk about that game. Let's talk about the Pro Bowl a little bit. Boy, I don't know what that was last night or what that is turning into, but let's do all of that with a former Pro Bowler and a man that has played in a Super Bowl, my buddy Leon Searcy, former Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You hear him every day on XL Primetime, and we're lucky enough to also have him right here on Hacker After Dark. Leon, how you doing, man?
What up, bro?
You know, I saw your tweet last night. Being a former Pro Bowler and to see what that whole situation has turned into now with tug of war and dodgeball. I mean, what's your thought on the Pro Bowl now, Leon?
Well, you know, I don't want to go Gran Torino on everybody, but I feel like that sometimes because I knew what the Pro Bowl meant to me as a player when I played. It was an all-star event that guys wanted to ascend to, because if you went to the Pro Bowl back in the day, it meant that you were among the elites in an already elite league. So, yeah, it has. I only went to one Pro Bowl. I was an All-Pro, second team All-Pro 3 times. Only went to one Pro Bowl. So to watch the guys play and be callous about the Pro Bowl frustrates me a little bit. And I'm showing my age too, Hack, you know, because I guess the new generation doesn't have a problem with it. And I do. So I'm going to speak on it when I have an opportunity to speak on it, because the Pro Bowl used to be a competitive event amongst the best players in the NFL, and now it's a sideshow. It's a state fair. Everybody gets on the ride and watch the clowns play. And I'm not calling the players clowns. I'm just saying that it's the frustration of me being a former Pro Bowler and watching it descend into what it is now.
Do you fault guys for not accepting the invitation? I mean, the fact that Shedeur Sanders and Joe Flacco were Pro Bowlers is because countless quarterbacks turned down the opportunity, and it's like that at a lot of positions. Do you fault guys for turning it down?
Not at all. Absolutely not at all, because it's a sideshow. I mean, listen, the guys that do go, I mean, they could collect a big check for winning it. I think it's like $96,000 to the winner and $48,000 to the losers. But no, I don't blame them. I mean, because it's not healthy competition. I mean, it's a sideshow. It's a fair. Just don't call it the Pro Bowl anymore, because what I remember as a Pro Bowl playing is not what I'm seeing on TV anymore.
And I guess, and you're an old school thinker, obviously, you admit that, being a former Pro Bowler and a man that played in the Super Bowl, and we'll get to that in a moment. I guess from my standpoint, being a media guy, I understand the fear of the injury factor. I mean, it used to be a pretty competitive game with hard hitting. I mean, remember the Sean Taylor hit on the punter? Mm-hmm. I mean, there was some physicality in the Pro Bowl, but now, I mean, the moment somebody gets hurt, you know, it's going to be a big deal, and that's why they've gotten away from the actual football game. Do you understand why they got away from it?
Well, it seems like the more the players get paid, the less they want to do. So the thought of them getting injured, you could get injured in the preseason, but yet You can get injured in minicamp. You can get injured in OTA. You can get injured in the weight room lifting weights. I mean, but that's all a part of your contract and you in your earnings and your money. So I don't want to hear the excuse, oh, we don't want to play the Pro Bowl because, we might get injured. You could have got injured all throughout the season with everything that's going on. You can't tell me that this one game that that ultimately you're fearful of yourself getting hurt. I'm not buying it.
Former Pro Bowl offensive tackle Leon Searcy. Last night we saw Devin Lloyd in a Jaguar uniform. He, along with Ross Matisic, were the two Jaguar representatives in the Pro Bowl. We know Matisic will be back here in 2026. Leon, there's a better chance than not. Last night was the final time we saw Devin Lloyd in a Jaguar uniform.
It could be, I don't know what the situation is going to be. Would love to have him back. He's going to demand a huge contract, rightfully so. He played the last year of his contract. He flexed on us, which he had an outstanding year. And not sure if the Jaguars are going to use a franchise tag on him or not. I'll be very interested to see how this regime maneuvers. But they told him to prove it. He proved it, got it done. Now he needs to get paid. So it'll be very interesting to see how this scenario pans out because in the locker room, when you tell a guy, go out there and prove it, and he does and doesn't get paid, then what kind of message are you sending to the guys in the locker room? So I'll be very interested to see how this team maneuvers with Devin Lloyd moving forward.
Last year, going into training camp, there was a lot of conversation that Ventrell Miller was going to get that spot anyway, and obviously Devin Lloyd won it and had a great year. And we saw what Anthony Campanile did with Devin Lloyd last year. Even go back to Green Bay, what he did with Quay Walker and the Packers in 2024. Leon, is it possible that Campanile could do with Ventrell Miller in 2026 what he did with Devin Lloyd in 2025? Does Ventrell have that type of potential?
I do believe instinctively, as far as instincts go, as far as getting to the ball, making tackles, absolutely. He's very instinctive. I mean, he doesn't get blocked a lot on run plays because he's able to move and maneuver around offensive line. I'm only concerned with Ventrell Miller is probably his coverage, his pass coverage. I haven't seen enough of it to be comfortable enough to say that he plays it well, but I've seen enough of his run stop ability to say that he's a ball hawk, and maybe he could do the same thing. Campanile can do the same thing for Lloyd that he could do for Miller.
Leon, I want to get to the Super Bowl with you in a moment. Final Jaguar thought. It's really a league-wide thought. We're just over a month away from free agency. Free agency begins March 9th. You can agree to deals. You can sign on March 11th. Here we are on February the 4th. So what are we talking? 4.5 weeks basically until free agency begins. You live that life a couple of times. Are conversations, backdoor, back channel conversations happening between players and their agents, and dare I say maybe even reps from other teams already?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, my free agency started for me same time in March, but in February there was teams calling my agent, setting up visits for me in March. I had teams like the Chargers, the Rams. I had the Chargers, Philadelphia, Miami Dolphins. Yeah, so I mean, in the corridors of free agency, there are backdoor agreements being made about coming to this team, coming to my team, and this and that. The numbers are being thrown out of what they're offering and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, although it's scheduled for March, I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of negotiation going on in this month of February.
Couple of more for former Jaguar Pro Bowl offensive tackle Leon Searcy. Leon, you played in the Super Bowl. You know what it's like for the Patriots and the Seahawk players that are getting ready. Here we sit 4 days out from the big game. What are the emotions as a player getting ready for this game on Sunday?
Well, I mean, you got to pace yourself, to be quite honest with you, because it is the Super Bowl. It's the biggest game of the season. It's most watched on TV in America, and you're center stage. You're the only two teams left, and only one team wins and hoists the Lombardi. So right now is Wednesday. You're probably having to practice. The key, let me tell you what the key is. Hey, you got to be able to eliminate the distractions, because you got the fanfare, you got the media there. I tried to spend as much time as I could when I played in the Super Bowl in my room, because it was just a frenzy of, and this was in 1996, so I can only imagine what it is now with the attachment of social media and all that kind of stuff that goes on. The constant information. So you got to be able to find you some quiet time, where you can visualize yourself playing the game, having success in the game, watching the film, going over the game plan, all that kind of stuff, because it is a business trip. I mean, it's a frenzy while you're there, but as a player, you have to understand that it's a business trip. It's not just like any other game. You can't be cliche with that, because it isn't. But you've got to be able to find yourself some quiet time in the frenzy that's going on in the Super Bowl, to where you can be in tune with yourself and how you want to approach the game on Sunday.
Leon, a lot of great storylines going into Sunday, but I think the biggest one is the Sam Darnold storyline. And as a guy that spent 11 years in the NFL like you did, I'm curious your thoughts. Here's a guy that was considered a bust, left out to pasture, by several NFL teams, obviously the Jets first and foremost. And he kept working, took backup roles in Carolina and San Francisco. Really came back to his own last year in Minnesota, and now here in Seattle, he finds himself one win away from being a world champion. What a job by Sam Darnold, and it's proof that you have to show patience with certain guys in this league.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I love his resilience, bro. And, sometimes you got to hit rock bottom to kind of crawl your way out, because no one's coming to save you but you. And that's what I like about Sam Darnold, in the fact that he's in this position to where he could ascend to the greatest height in the NFL, which is a world champion. So yeah, I mean, I just love the fact that he kept on fighting. I mean, you're right. We put him out the pasture, called him a bust. He was bouncing on different team after team. He saw ghosts, all that kind of stuff active in him. And now he's in a position where he can ascend to heights that most quarterbacks will never be able to. And, being first of all, being a first-round pick, I mean, it's pressure enough on you, especially at the quarterback position, because they want you to have immediate success when you ultimately need to be groomed, in my opinion. But he hasn't said much. I like it because my father used to say, let people run their mouth while you run your business. And I think that's what Sam Darnold's been doing the last couple of years. You're talking about a quarterback that's led two different teams to 14 wins and now a Super Bowl. So he's to be commended for that. And I wish him nothing but the best.
And Leon, as we wrap up, in a conference that is dominated by Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, and then you go down to the Trevor Lawrences and the Justin Herberts and the C.J. Strouds, on and on and on, it is Drake May that is the last one left standing. And what a turnaround for the New England Patriots this year.
Oh, absolutely. And listen, that has everything to do with Mike Vrabel. I mean, bringing the Patriot way 2.0 back. And then the Patriot way is just this, in my assessment, with all the dominance that they've had over the last 2 decades or so. It's just holding people accountable to greatness. And that's when I was with the Steelers, that's the one thing I could appreciate going to the Pittsburgh Steelers early in my career, because when we came in that lobby and we walked through those double doors, before we even turned right to get to the locker room, them Lombardis were standing right there in the middle of the lobby. So that automatically lets you know that before you turn that corner, understand that greatness is required every day. And I think that's what Mike Vrabel. I mean, he's from the Belichick tree. He played with the Patriots. He understands what winning's about. And I think he's reinvented the culture of the Patriot Way 2.0. And the key is the players are buying into it. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Hack, this team started the season 1-2, right?
I believe so, yeah.
And they lost to the Raiders. They lost to the Raiders at the beginning of the season. And then they ran like 10 straight and then, ultimately finished the season with 14 wins. 14 wins, 13 or 14 wins. But I listen, I think a lot of people think that this game is going to be dominated by Seattle, but I wouldn't be surprised if it comes down to a field goal at the end, because I think the Patriots are going to play tough throughout the whole game.
I completely agree with you. Who wins the game? Who's hoisting the Lombardi Trophy at the end of Sunday night?
Seahawks.
Yeah.
I think the Seahawks win 27-24.
And as a guy that doesn't have a dog in the fight, that's what I'm hoping for. Just a good game to end the NFL season. And come Monday, everybody's back to 0-0, and we all start looking ahead to 2026. Former Jaguar Pro Bowl offensive tackle Leon Searcy. Leon, I know you're busy, man. Thank you for the time. Enjoy the game on Sunday, and we'll talk soon, pal.
You got it, bro.
Live streaming from the XL Digital Studios. Brightened by Harbor Dental Care, Jacksonville's first choice for dental emergencies.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. Hacker here. I was in the store earlier today, and a lady stopped me that's listened to the show for a long time, and she actually said, I've listened to you grow up over the years. That's how long I've been doing this. And she also told me how proud she was of me because she knew what I used to look like. And she saw me today, and she knows I've been talking about Awaken 180, and she sees the results. To hear somebody say that I don't even know, I met this person for the first time today, that they're proud of me for the weight loss that I've lost on Awaken 180, man, you have no idea how good that feels. And it's all thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. I tried so many weight loss programs over the years. None of them worked. Awaken 180 was absolutely sensational. Go to awaken180weightloss.com, awaken180weightloss.com, or call 844-346-1800. Guys, if I can lose the weight, you can lose the weight, and you can do it like I did with Awaken 180 weight loss.
The Gators, the Knowles, the Dogs, and the Canes. College football starts and ends here. 1010XL. 10XL.
Be the first to discover the best new home community in beautiful Green Cove Springs. Highland Trail, where the rhythm of life slows down. Enjoy green spaces, luxury pools, pickleball courts, winding trails, and more at livehighlandtrail.com. Choose from 3 premium builders, just starting in the 300s.
Oh, at Highland Trail.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here from the Blue Crab Crab House. February means the Mardi Gras menu returns to the Blue Crab Crab House. Gumbo, shrimp Orleans, black and redfish, appetizers, dessert, and more. This includes, of course, their regular menu where you get crabs from the Alaskan waters, the Canadian waters, the Southern Georgia waters. It's only at the Blue Crab Crab House. Doors open at 4:30, San Jose, and of course, Julington Creek Road.
Hey, it's Angela and Brian Wall. How many companies do you know in this day and age that actually want their potential customers to call their competition and get quotes from them?
That's what WonderWorld wants you to do. WonderWorld knows there are other window companies out there, but we also know those other guys. When compared to WonderWorld, they can't offer you the quality at the price that WonderWorld can.
And with WonderWorld, you get the absolute best guarantee there is in the window replacement business.
If anything goes wrong with your new WonderWorld windows, 5 years from now, 10, 15, 50, WonderWorld and I will be there to fix it for you. You get peace of mind with WonderWorld, and to top it off, WonderWorld windows increase the value of your home. So look what you get with WonderWorld. Quality windows, low price, the best guarantee in the business, energy savings, and an increase in the value of your home. A win-win for you.
Call WonderWorld today and get your free in-home estimate, or see them online at WonderWorldNEFlorida.com.
WonderWorld, simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
WindowWorld also offers energy-efficient doors. Think switching to T-Mobile's a whole complicated thing? Nah, it's easy. You could do it almost anywhere in just 15 minutes.
Even poolside like Drewski, you can switch to T-Mobile and unlock savings that are built to last. With T-Mobile's Better Value plan, you can save over $1,000 a year versus Verizon and AT&T. Save on streaming, satellite, and more benefits that they leave out.
I get all the VIP perks.
Start saving from day one, and for a limited time, get T-Mobile's Better Value plan.
I know you love deals.
Plus, switch right now, and we'll even pay off your old phone up to $800. What do you think of all that, Drewski?
Stay chillin', just switching. It's better over here.
Check the math at T-Mobile.com/better value. Savings versus comparable plans at AT&T and Verizon, plus the cost of optional benefits. Plan features and taxes and fees vary. With 3+ lines of Better Value plan. 3+ new lines and 2 eligible ports, or 3+ lines and 5+ years on T-Mobile postpaid plan required. Qualifying credit required. Check out in 15 minutes or less per line. Get up to $800 per line via virtual prepaid card. Typically takes 15 days after rebate submission. Qualifying unlocked device credit service ported 90+ days with device and eligible carrier, and timely redemption required. No cash access and card expires in 6 months. Card issued by Sunrise Banks N.A. member FDIC.
Get a healthy start in 2026. The Florida Department of Health in Duval County is here to help you get healthy and stay healthy all year long. Our dedicated team is committed to providing high-quality care and trusted public health services for our community. Our mission is simple: to protect, promote, and improve the health of you and your family. Learn more about our programs and services by visiting duval.floridahealth.gov.
I used to dread going to the dentist. Every visit felt like a sales pitch with constant upselling, surprise fees on my bill, and I could never get in when I needed to. But Harbor Dental Care? Totally different. They saw me the next day, gave me honest pricing up front, and even set me up with a payment plan I could actually afford. No pressure, no surprise charges, just kind people who get it. If you want to experience dentistry the way it should be, book your appointment today at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Glad you're with us, Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. I mentioned earlier, National Signing Day, although almost all the hay was in the barn for the Florida Gators. But John Sumrall, the brand new head coach of the University of Florida, did meet the media earlier today, kind of held court for a good 20 minutes or so. And he was asked a lot of things about the upcoming season. Spring football for Florida, by the way, gets underway in less than a month. I believe March 3rd is the first spring practice for the Gators. The Orange and Blue game, April the 11th, over there in Gainesville. But John Sumrall today over at the Florida football facility talked to the members of the media and was asked, first and foremost, about Buster Faulkner, his brand new offensive coordinator, and how that came about that Faulkner decided to be Sumrall's OC.
In full disclosure, my first couple of conversations with Buster about maybe being on my staff happened before I was head coach of Florida, right? It was like, hey, if one of these happens one day, like, what do you think maybe? And but we've got a good relationship, and it's nice for Buster, too, to have Coach Craddock on staff because Joe's been with me, so there's some familiarity where maybe if Buster has a question, I'm not right in the room, he can look over to his immediate right and go, hey, Joe, what's Coach think here? How's he see this probably?
I like the honesty there, the transparency, because I had heard that. I had heard that it was going to be a combo deal. Like when people were throwing out like Brian Daboll's name and other names like that, I had heard through the grapevine that it was going to be Buster Faulkner because Sumrall and Faulkner were kind of a combo package. I know Georgia Tech people were caught off guard by that, but I don't think many people that cover Florida or that were near the Florida decision makers were necessarily surprised by the Buster Faulkner hire. And the thing I'll say about Buster Faulkner, and I said this a while back, you know, I was in the Brent Key pod where I wanted Brent Key to be the new head coach at Florida, the coach at Georgia Tech. And I was told by people in Atlanta, all right, well, that's fine if you want Brent Key. He's done a good job. Just make sure that Brent Key brings Buster Faulkner with him. So I think people that cover Georgia Tech will tell you, and the ones that I talked to told me that they would give a majority of their credit to Georgia Tech's success the last couple of years to Buster Faulkner. Summerall was also asked about Faulkner and his role in retaining some of the players like Vernell Brown, like Dallas Wilson, and of course, like running back Jaden Baugh.
Those guys want to know what's the scheme going to look like. How am I going to get coached? How am I going to get developed? So it's pivotal. You know, I think I talk a lot about, like, as the head coach, my job is to cast the vision of what the whole program is going to look like. But that comes to life in the locker room, not in my office. Well, offensively, it's the offensive coordinator's job to cast the vision for what the system's going to look like and how we're going to build this thing. And I think going back to Buster's adaptability and versatility, I think that helps because he's able to show guys, hey, I've done things a lot of different ways and I've built it around who the players are. And then I think secondly, I think Buster, when you spend time around him, you find out he's real, he's authentic, he's genuine.
One more from Florida football coach John Summerall, who met in the media earlier today on National Signing Day. You know, one of the interesting things about the spring, and there's going to be a lot of interesting things, obviously, but there's a quarterback battle, one would think, that's brewing in Gainesville. Now, I think Aaron Philo is going to have a leg up in the competition. He's been in Buster Faulkner's system in Atlanta for the last 2 years. He obviously came with Faulkner from Georgia Tech. One would think that he's going to be in prime position to win. Doesn't have a great deal of experience. A start here and there, but pretty green. One of the things about Philo is in the state of Georgia, he was the guy that broke a lot of Trevor Lawrence's high school passing records. I mean, the guy is very accomplished. I asked a couple people to compare Philo for Gator fans that haven't seen him. And I heard a really interesting comparison a couple of weeks ago. Somebody told me, imagine Kyle Trask that can run. He's a Kyle Trask-esque passer, but he's more mobile than Kyle Trask. And I was like, well, that's interesting. So that's a good frame of reference to go on, at least in one person's opinion. But former Mandarin high school quarterback, former Mandarin star Tramel Jones, who got some playing time last year when DJ Lagway got benched, also came back into the fold. He could have gone into the portal. He chose not to. He chose to come back. So there likely will be a quarterback competition between Philo and Tramel Jones, and John Summerall was asked about that earlier today.
Buster's very confident in Philo and his readiness to be a high-level player. And so that made me more confident because he saw him every day for the last couple of years. So that was a huge part of that. If Buster hadn't been with him, I probably would have had more questions. But, you know, when a guy's been around somebody that long and seen it since a younger age, you feel better about it. And then I would also say, too, like, I think it also is probably an endorsement of how I feel about Tramel. I think Tramel's got a really high ceiling, too. So I'm excited about, and it's not just down to those two guys yet. You know, my first year at Tulane, Darian Mensah was the third quarterback until 2 weeks before the first game. So we're going to compete. Everybody's going to get what they earn. There is no starting quarterback yet.
We'll see. Yeah, but that's certainly the big storyline going into the spring. Philo v. Jones for that starting quarterback spot. And by the way, Summerall says it's not just down to those two. And while I agree with him that he wants to see everybody, let's be real here. The starting quarterback for Florida on opening day is either going to be Aaron Philo or Tramel Jones. I mean, I would be flabbergasted if that's not the case. Back into the National Football League in just a moment. Back into the Jacksonville Jaguars as well. Garrett Padell, CBSSports.com, out in San Francisco, is about 15 minutes away. As we're glad you're with us on a Wednesday night, Super Bowl week here on Hacker After Dark in the city of Jacksonville. We're with you till 10 o'clock. We're glad you're with us. It's 1010XL and it's 92.5 FM.
The roar of the crowd. The theater of your mind.
Breaking free, they're not going to catch him.
It comes alive in your ears.
Showtime.
Jacksonville's play-by-play sports radio. 1010XL.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. What's better than beer? Cold beer. Put your company logo on a custom koozie. Check them out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
From the tee to the green and everywhere in between. Join Dan, Jeff, and PGA pros for Brunch with the Tour. Teed up by Clearwater Irrigation, Tuesday morning at 8:30 on Jacksonville's Golf Station, 1010XL.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Bueller.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
I'm starting to realize being a homeowner isn't all upside, Jason.
I mean, it does give you a place to live.
Yeah, but now suddenly I need to know the names of all the people I need to look after my house.
Like who?
Like if my air conditioner breaks in the middle of the heat wave, I need to know who I call to fix it.
That's me. You know me.
But what if my water heater dies or my toilet backs up?
That would also be me. Bueller Air and Plumbing.
Okay, fine, but what about my duct cleaning and my water filtration and my sewer drain? Where am I going to find all those guys if something goes wrong? I'm just a guy with a house and a dream and...
This pair of sunglasses. Whoa. Bueller Air and Plumbing is the only name you need to know. Our club members even get 2 free visits a year, so you know we're there when you need us.
Well, that's cool.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees, about $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 14th.
This is Paige, owner of Awaken 180 Weight Loss. People ask me all the time what's healthy. And that's hard because healthy is different from losing weight. And I think that's where a lot of people struggle. There are a lot of foods out there that are healthy foods, but they're not going to support your weight loss. And that's what we're here to help with. We're here to help you get in the healthy foods that are going to help you lose weight. The Awaken 180 difference is our coaches. It's our team. You can find things online about weight loss, but you try them yourself and they just don't work. And that's because everyone is different. And that's what our coaches are so skilled at helping you figure out.
Thanks, Paige. Hacker here. Figuring it out, that's what I needed. And the reason I chose Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Not a med, not a diet plan. I wanted a solution. Do what I did and make a 180 with your health and weight. Schedule your Awaken 180 consultation today. Call 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800 or awaken180weightloss.com.
The Edwin Watts Golf Hour will meet you at the green.
Blue skies, fresh cut grass, birds chirping.
The Edwin Watts Golf Hour.
Grip it and rip it.
Get tips, tour notes, and the latest gear Saturday mornings at 10 on 1010XL. 1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. This is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Approaching halftime, Hacker After Dark. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We'll take you up till 10 o'clock as we do every night right here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Coming up towards the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour, my buddy Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark as we'll talk about the retirement of Gus Malzahn in Tallahassee, what that means for Florida State moving forward. We'll talk about the arrival of Darian Mensah to Miami. Boy, they go from Cam Ward to Carson Beck, now to Darian Mensah. That has been their last three quarterbacks. They have owned the quarterback transfer portal. And we'll also talk a little Gator basketball as well, as Florida gets ready for a big one Saturday night against Texas A&M. Back into the National Football League, though, coming up in less than 15 minutes. We'll go out to San Francisco. Garrett Padell of CBSSports.com. Speaking of the National Football League, Jaguar defensive lineman Eric Armstead was talking with Yahoo Sports earlier today. The current Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year. He will give that title up, I guess, this week when the new Walter Payton Man of the Year is announced for 2026. But Eric has held it for the 2025 season. He talked to Yahoo Sports earlier today, and he talked about something that is a simple question, maybe a complex answer. You listen to Eric Armstead and see what you think. He was simply asked, what will it take for Jacksonville to go further in 2026?
I think, the game changes throughout the year. I think, once you get into the playoffs, things tighten up, a lot. And, us taking that next step is continuing that journey of, proving to yourself what you're capable of, going out there and doing it. It's going to take us being in that moment again and finding a way to execute and win a game like that to, turn over the belief in what you're capable of. But, we look at our season this year, look at some of the teams that we beat. We beat a lot of playoff teams. And, I think that being a first year together, there's going to be some tweaks. There's going to be some, okay, we did this way, but how can we improve in this area? And figuring that out is the journey that it's fun to be on. And so things are very promising. Things are, looking to the future is a good spot to be.
The thoughts of Jaguar defensive lineman Eric Armstead. I completely agree with him. Look, it is a promising looking future. It would be crazy not to be very, very optimistic on the Jaguars moving into 2026 based on what we saw in 2025. But having said that, league, years can vary so much. Who in their right mind would have had Jacksonville 13-4 coming into the year? Now the expectations are all going to be risen. Can they live up to those expectations? It kind of caught people out of nowhere last year. They're not going to catch people out of nowhere in 2026. That's why it was so disappointing to not take advantage of that opportunity that you lost 24 days ago on Wild Card Weekend. Not that I'm keeping count, right? 24 days ago.
Been that long?
Oh, man. It's felt every bit of 24 days. Feels like it's been 2 or 3 months, but it's only been 3.5 weeks. But it'll get easier as we get further along because you start talking about free agency and the draft and, how this roster is taking shape. But no doubt you missed an opportunity. Can you get another one next year? Yeah, you can. But it's going to take a lot of work. I mean, think back last year. Devon Hamilton's big paw that knocked down the Raider 2-point conversion, or you lose that game. It took a comeback in the fourth quarter to beat Arizona, ultimately in overtime. It took the first Houston game, Nico Collins fumbling the ball, or Houston can run the clock down to about 50 seconds, kick a field goal, and take the lead in week 3. People always talk about the blown game against Houston, with good reason. Jacksonville very easily could have lost the first Houston game, if not for the Nico Collins fumble. The Trevor Lawrence touchdown drive to beat Kansas City. I mean, there was a lot of little things that added up to 13-4, and you're going to have to rekindle that again in 2026. 2 of those games are going to be against the Tennessee Titans. Let's quickly get to Eric Armstead again with Yahoo Sports. He knows Robert Saleh very well from his time in San Francisco. He obviously knows Liam Cohen very well now. We know the interaction that Saleh and Cohen had last year after the San Francisco-Jacksonville game. Eric Armstead was asked about Saleh and Cohen seeing each other twice in 2026.
I think it's going to be cool. I think this offseason, you get to the owners' meetings, they get around each other. It'll, they can have some conversations. I definitely think they both respect each other a lot, from my conversations with both of them. And so, yeah, I think, it's going to be cool. Definitely extremely, happy for Saleh. I was talking to him, just supporting him and really happy for him to be a head coach again. I think he's a, amazing coach. And, but yeah, in terms of the beef, I think they get to those NFL meetings and, they see the mutual respect that one another have, and it'll be all good.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, but certainly that'll be a big, big talking point when that schedule comes out, when Jacksonville and Tennessee match up on the schedule. Robert Saleh on one side and Liam Cohen on the other side. Let's get into the National Football League. Let's talk Jags, and let's certainly talk Patriots and Seahawks in Super Bowl 60. Garrett Padell, CBSSports.com, one of our favorites to talk ball with, and he joins us next on a Wednesday night here in Northeast Florida. We're with you till 10 o'clock, Jacksonville. We're glad you're with us as we roll on here on Hacker After Dark.
Where imagination drives passion. Jacksonville, a city of dreams. 1010XL, Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Been in a car crash? I'm local attorney Rick Alexander, and I've made it our mission at the Alexander Law Practice to listen to you so I can fight for the best possible result for you. I've been practicing over 30 years, and our team focuses on guiding you through the entire process. And because fees and reimbursement costs come out at the end of the case, I will never ask you to come out of pocket. For a free review, call 904-400-6600 or log on to alexanderlawpractice.com, Jacksonville.
For nearly 60 years, Green Acres Sporting Goods at the corner of Normandy and Hammond Boulevard has been Jacksonville's trusted name for the outdoors. From archery to hunting and fishing and more, their expert staff helps you get it right the first time. Right now, stop in and try the newest bows by Hoyt and Matthews and get dialed in before spring. Gear up today at greenacresporting.com.
It's a dream come true. Today's coverage of National Signing Day on 1010XL is brought to you by Baker Glass and Flame Broiler. Listen all day for updates and find out where our high school athletes will take their talents this fall.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
It all begins with Speed Weeks, presented by Advent Health February 11th, and culminates with a Daytona 500 on February 15th. This week, you can win a pair of tickets to the Daytona 500. What driver won the 2025 Daytona 500? Text the driver's last name to 641-1010. What driver won the 2025 Daytona 500? Text the driver's last name answer to 641-1010 for a chance to win tickets to the Daytona 500, February 15th.
Hello, I'm Ed Jackson, president of Ned Jackson Income Tax. Ned Jackson Income Tax has been preparing tax returns in Jacksonville for over 80 years. Our tax preparers at Ned Jackson Income Tax have years of knowledge and experience to help you get your highest possible tax refund and are fully trained on all IRS updates, including the One Big Beautiful Bill. Visit one of Ned Jackson's 4 locations, including our downtown office at 255 North Liberty Street. That's Ned Jackson Income Tax, 356-0349.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When pests invade your home or business, you don't just need them out, you need them out fast. And you need to keep them out. At Terminix, they'll show up for you and eliminate pests quicker, just like they did at my house, because they care about what matters most to you. When pests show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a pest problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. That's right, Terminix it.
There's joy in every RV journey. Your journey starts at the Jacksonville RV Mega Show, Thursday, February 5th through Sunday the 8th at the Jacksonville Equestrian Center. It's Northeast Florida's largest RV show with hundreds of RVs on display with lifestyle booths. Adults $10, kids under 12 free. Seniors get $1 off Thursday. Military and first responders get $1 off every day. Thursday through Saturday from 10 to 5, Sunday 10 to 4. The Jacksonville RV Mega Show at the Jacksonville Equestrian Center.
What's up, Duval? I'm Chad Valamek, owner of Purple Heart Pools, Jacksonville's veteran-owned pool company for over 10 years. We specialize in new pool construction and pool renovations, built on military values, integrity, communication, attention to detail, and honor. Now is the perfect time to start your pool project, so when the heat hits, your pool is ready. As an Iraq War veteran and Purple Heart recipient, pride in what I do is everything. Let me show you the difference in how my team and I execute your pool project with military precision. Call Purple Heart Pools, Jacksonville's veteran pool company.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Here's another call on the 1010XL hotline, driven by Key Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. Super Bowl 60 comes up on Sunday. The Patriots and the Seahawks. We will certainly talk about that. But let's also look back on the Jaguars season that was. Of course, Liam Cohen is a finalist for Head Coach of the Year. Trevor Lawrence is a finalist for both Comeback Player of the Year and the league's most valuable player. Let's talk about all of it with Garrett Padell of CBSSports.com, who's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Garrett, it's been a little while, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, Ryan. Thank you so much for having me on. Always happy to talk ball. And, you know, we're talking here with this Super Bowl coming up, and I actually was incredibly impressed with the Jags season this year. Ahead of the playoffs, CBS Sports had all of our NFL staffers fill out the entire NFL playoff bracket. And my Super Bowl pick was Rams over Jags. And so I was really impressed with how Jacksonville finished down the stretch, 8 or 9 consecutive wins to finish the regular season, to win the AFC South. I really was impressed with what Liam Cohen did in his first year in charge.
Yeah, truth be told, there's still a lot of people here that haven't gotten over that wild card loss to Buffalo, a back-and-forth game that Buffalo won there in the final minute or so. But again, Liam Cohen, we talk about him being a finalist for Coach of the Year. Garrett, it's really hard to do what he did, man, to inherit a 4-win team and in 1 year's time taking them to 13 wins. What was, in your opinion, the most impressive part of what Liam Cohen did?
I think it's a multifaceted deal. I think, first and foremost, I thought this was the best that we'd seen Trevor Lawrence play in his career. I know there was the 2022 stretch, also when Jacksonville won the division and made the AFC divisional round, had that narrow loss to the eventual Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs on the road. But to me, I think there was a little bit of question given the injury history with Trevor Lawrence, him constantly being banged up. I mean, not only was Trevor Lawrence able to be healthy, but, franchise record, 38 total touchdowns. And that 8-game winning streak I mentioned earlier that they finished the regular season on led the league in total touchdowns of 24 across the last 8 games of the regular season. And so I just think the way he was able to maximize Trevor Lawrence and get him to play efficient football, 19 total touchdowns, just 1 turnover in the last 6 games. I mean, that to me, has solidified Trevor Lawrence as the franchise quarterback, if there's any doubt, because of what Liam Cohen was able to do, incorporating Jacoby Myers. And I think it's incredible the job he did when we know Travis Hunter, the number 2 overall draft pick, pretty much didn't contribute anything to this season, and Jacksonville still accomplished what they did.
Garrett Padell of CBSSports.com. Travis Hunter, you're right, only played 7 games, did not really play at all towards the 8-game winning streak there down the stretch. And that, I think, Garrett, is what gives Jaguar fans some promise going into the year. Even though they don't have a first-round pick in April, the fact that they get Travis Hunter back from a team that did get so hot at the end of the year does give them a lot of promise going into 2026.
Yeah, and I think it is going to be interesting to see how they utilize him, because I had an exclusive one-on-one interview with him pre-draft for CBS Sports, and he looked me dead in my face and said, I asked him, would you rather, play only one position in the NFL after he played at both corner and wide receiver when he won the Heisman at Colorado in 2024, or retire. And he looked me dead in the face over Zoom and said, I'd rather retire because I'm excellent at playing both positions. That's something I want to do. So I'm very curious to see, given it kind of seemed like his body wore out, given that he needed knee surgery and missed the last 10 games of the regular season, that maybe it's time to sit him down and say, all right, we're going to major you in corner or major you in wide receiver and really minor you in the other one to really preserve his health. I mean, it's going to be really interesting what they do because they re-signed Jacoby Myers, Brian Thomas Jr., great deep threat. I could see maybe corner being the spot he goes to just out of necessity based on depth over there. But after the Myers addition, the depth at wide receiver in Jacksonville looks pretty good.
Well, yeah, and it's going to be hard to take Parker Washington off the field as well. So you got Washington, Myers, and Brian Thomas Jr. and Brenton Strange. Whereas on defense, as you mentioned, Garrett, I mean, Monteric Brown's a free agent. Greg Newsome's a free agent. I just think out of necessity to the roster, you're probably looking at Travis Hunter being more a DB in 2026 than a wide receiver.
Certainly, I'd agree with that. And, we were talking about Liam Cohen and the job he did. First-time defensive coordinator, Anthony Campanile, coming over. He was a longtime NFL linebackers coach, I think last of the Green Bay Packers. And the job he did really maximizing linebacker Devin Lloyd, 5 interceptions for Lloyd, tied for second most in the league. He had 6 total takeaways. And he turned Devin Lloyd into somebody who people were questioning, was he worth that first-round pick in 2022? And is somebody who's lined himself up to get paid in free agency this year. So I think you also, when we're talking about Liam Cohen and the job he did, I think Anthony Campanile deserves plenty of credit as well for the defensive turnaround this past season.
No, I would agree with that. And we know Campanile was a finalist for the Arizona job. Grant Udinski was a finalist for the Cleveland job. And both guys announced last week that they are indeed coming back for 2026. Garrett, how big a deal is that for Liam Cohen to get both his coordinators back for next year?
I think it's a tremendous deal because you talk to so many coaches, or I've had the opportunity to do so over the years. And probably one of the biggest things that they stress is continuity, being able to maintain and build a program, whether that's at the college level or the pro level. And so for Jacksonville to have that, familiar face at all of the major coordinator spots and head coaching spot to build off of the 13-win season AFC South division title run, I think is absolutely massive, and I think sets the Jags up to truly contend in the AFC a year from now, pending health of Travis Hunter and what they're going to do with Devin Lloyd here coming up in free agency.
Couple more for Garrett Padell of CBSSports.com. Certainly the two big free agency questions are Devin Lloyd and Travis Etienne, so we'll have to see what James Gladstone winds up doing there. From the coaching carousel point of view, Garrett, 10 new guys that are going to be in charge of different teams in 2026. Who is your biggest winner and maybe your biggest loser from the coaching carousel?
That's a good question. I would say I've got a few. I'm going to say that there's a few winners. I think the Raiders, who are reportedly going to get Clint Kubiak from the Seattle Seahawks, I think that's absolutely massive, bringing in a modern offensive mind from the McVay, Shanahan tree, which is what Jacksonville did a year ago with Liam Cohen, bringing Kubiak in after the year he's been able to orchestrate out of Sam Darnold and Jackson Smith and Jigba up in Seattle. They're on the precipice to potentially win the Super Bowl. I thought that was an A-plus hire for them to kind of cultivate who they have in Ashton Genty, most likely Fernando Mendoza with the first overall pick. And then I also really love the hire of Jesse Minter for the Ravens because I think he's one of the best defensive minds in football. Chargers were a top 10 defense. And then he was able to hire, we talked about the importance of coordinators at OC, Declan Doyle, who was Ben Johnson's OC. Now, Doyle wasn't calling the plays, but getting someone from the Ben Johnson tree who's young and can really grow with Lamar Jackson, I think was really big as well. So I'd say the Ravens and Raiders were probably my two biggest winners from the coaching carousel. Biggest loser, I would say, was probably the Cleveland Browns. I mean, Todd Monken, he did a good job as the Ravens OC, but he's a first-time head coach at the age of 60. There's only been 7 other guys like that in NFL history to be first-time head coaches at the age of 60, and only one of them lasted past 3 seasons. So not a great trend for Cleveland.
We certainly took notice of Robert Saleh going to Tennessee here in Jacksonville. What's your thought on that fit?
I think it's a good fit. I mean, I would have for Tennessee wanted maybe an offensive coach, just because with the investment of the first overall pick in Cam Ward, you'd love to have offensive continuity, because if his offensive coordinator, which is going to be Brian Dable, the former New York Giants head coach in 2026, does well and gets head coaching buzz and leaves, that's the OC position that could potentially need to be replaced every few seasons if they have the kind of success with Cam Ward that they're hoping for. But I do think Saleh is an incredible defensive mind. And I mean, the job that he did with the 49ers this year, losing Nick Bosa in week 3, losing Fred Warner in the middle of the season, and the 49ers still reaching the divisional round before they ran out of gas, and even cobbling together a competent defense without all their all-pro players, I thought was incredibly impressive. And so that, I think, makes Tennessee much more formidable in 2026.
Final moments, Garrett Padell of CBSSports.com. All right, Garrett, when you look at the game on Sunday, Seahawks-Patriots, boy, talk about redemption for both sides. New England has a head coach that Tennessee fired 2 years ago. He takes a year off, and now, lo and behold, Mike Vrabel is 1 win away from being a world champion. And Seattle has a quarterback that was left out to pasture by a lot of people, was considered to be a bust in New York, and now Sam Darnold's 1 win away from being a world champion. In your opinion, what's the bigger story, Vrabel in New England or Darnold in Seattle?
I think it's Darnold in Seattle, because I mean, a lot of people thought Drake May was going to be really special, 3rd overall pick in the 24 draft, and but to me, Sam Darnold, somebody who's on his 5th NFL team, and was a backup for a lot of years in the NFL after his initial Jets stint, being a backup, sometimes starter in Carolina, backup to Brock Purdy when the 49ers made the Super Bowl run and came up just short against the Chiefs in 2023. So then, in 2024, he really broke out, earned his first Pro Bowl nod with Minnesota, but looked completely overwhelmed on the big stage in the last game of the season that they had against the Detroit Lions, with the 1 seed in the NFC North title on the line. Then took an NFL record 9 sacks in the playoffs against the Rams in that wild card game. To being in the Super Bowl with Sam Darnold, I think is not something that anyone would have seen before the start of this season. So I think that's definitely the bigger story. Now, my matchup kind of to look at in this game involves May, and that is, will Drake May be able to overcome the pass rush pressure Seattle's going to put on him up front? Because Drake May's taken at least 5 sacks in all 3 of the AFC playoff games he's played in. And they're facing the number 1 scoring defense in Seattle, who's got great interior pressure with second-team All-Pro D-tackle Leonard Williams, a first-round pick at D-tackle on the other spot, and Byron Murphy, and then Pro Bowl edge rusher DeMarcus Lawrence on one edge, and Uchenna Nwosu, a solid veteran, on the other edge. So I think that's really where this game's going to be won or lost, is New England's offensive pass protection versus Seattle's pass rush.
I don't know how many people before the year had New England and Seattle in the Super Bowl, yet here we are. Garrett, who do you like in the game? Who wins the Lombardi Trophy on Sunday night?
I like the Seahawks. I think for kind of the matchup I just sort of detailed, which is, Will Campbell's been abused at left tackle, the rookie 4th overall pick out of LSU this postseason. And I just don't see that improving against facing DeMarcus Lawrence, who's been revitalized in Seattle this season, and against Mike McDonald's creative defensive scheme that'll bring pressure from anywhere, disguises from anywhere. That probably makes Drake May hold the ball just a tick longer, and then that puts a lot of onus on the New England pass rush or pass protection unit to win. I just don't think they'll be able to do that enough. If Drake May takes 5 sacks for the 4th straight game in a row, they're going to lose. I don't think it'll be that bad, but I just don't see New England's offensive line holding up in pass protection like they need to win this game.
Garrett, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville what you'll have on CBSSports.com this week leading up to the game on Sunday.
Absolutely. I've got a loaded slate of content coming out on CBSSports.com this week. Tomorrow, I have my top 20 wide receiver rankings in the NFL as we come to the close of the 2025 season. So that's, going to factor in what guys have done in years past, this season's production, and all that to get the top 20 wide receivers in the league. And then Super Bowl related content. I'm going to have a quarterback tail of the tape breakdown where I really get into the nitty gritty with both Sam Darnold and Drake May and how they've gotten their teams to the Super Bowl at this point on Friday, as well as my regular bold predictions column that comes out every Friday during the season. I got one more here with Super Bowl 60 coming up.
Garrett Padell of CBSSports.com. Garrett, I know you're busy, man. Thank you for taking time out, and we'll talk again soon, pal.
Yes, sir, Ryan. Thank you so much for having me on. Look forward to talking again soon.
We do things as a team, gentlemen.
Jacksonville's live and local sports radio.
We cannot be defeated.
1010XL. 10XL.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental. With light sedation for cleaning, then deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, located in Bartram Park.
David Garrard here, and once again, I'm reporting good news about how good my knees are doing following PRP treatment at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. For an old quarterback like me, my knees are in great shape.
You don't have to be a celebrity or a professional athlete to appreciate the everyday personal attention you'll receive at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. For any orthopedic need, call on the pros at SOS.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
I'm with Fred from Cycles of Jacksonville. We always talk about Honda, Triumph, so many great bikes, but Aprilia from Italy is also a beautiful line.
It is absolutely gorgeous, and it is a fine sport bike. It's one that when you take your helmet off, you're never frowning. You're always smiling.
So if you want to treat yourself to something really special on the road, that's a line they should look into?
Absolutely, and we've got them in stock and ready to roll.
All right, make sure you check them out. They are on Atlantic near Regency. CyclesOfJacksonville.com is a great place to go, or check out their Facebook page at Cycles of Jacksonville.
How will they get ready for the biggest game of their life? Dig deep into the strategies and game plans as we gear up for the football finale. 1010XL's coverage of the biggest game of the season is brought to you by Hall & Sons Plumbing and Window World of Northeast Florida.
Next time you head into a Gate convenience store, look for Form Energy Drink, designed to provide energy, hydration, and focus straight from Dana White and AB, celebrating those who embrace grit, discipline, and resilience in their everyday lives. Check out Form Energy at a Gate convenience store.
Valentine's Day is sweet, but let's be honest, your septic tank wants attention too. Because when it gets ignored, it doesn't sulk, it causes problems, big ones. That's why DuckDuckRooter, the only master septic contractor in Northeast Florida, is rolling out the Show Your Septic Some Love promotion. Right now, get $50 off septic tank pumping when you book by February 28th. Give your septic a little love now so it doesn't make a big scene later. When you're stuck, call the Duck, 904-862-6769, DuckDuckRooter.com.
And that concludes the Joe C. Jack of All Trades show. Tune in next week where I'll be installing my own French drain.
Joe, wake up, man.
Hey, John, I must have dozed off.
We finished those projects you started.
Whoa, my seamless gutters are actually seamless.
And they're connected into underground PVC drain lines.
And my sprinklers. Wow, look at that coverage.
Next time, just call me first, Joe.
I will, but I ain't singing that song.
Clearwater irrigation
and drainage too.
If someone you love needs a pick-me-up, then it's time to get serious about it and send them a Kuhn floral arrangement. JJ here with 1010XL. You'll be assured of a quality delivery, that's for sure. Log on and order online at KuhnFlowers.com.
San Jose Collision in Mandarin is proud to be an iCar Gold Class collision repair facility. That means they meet the industry's highest training standards. Experience the difference at San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Jacksonville, you voted, and Baker Glass came out on top. The Bold City Best Awards are all about locals choosing their favorites, and you picked them for Best Auto Glass and Best Glass and Mirror Service.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Hey, it's Travis from Cannons of Jacks. When you need a trailer hitch, gooseneck, or RV towing options, call us at Cannons. We've been doing it for 55 years, and customer service is our #1 priority. Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
Game days aren't the only win happening in the 904. Best of Bold City named 904 Gutters with a Z the #1 seamless gutter company in Duval. Like the team's O-line protects their QB. Call the winning team at 904 Gutters with a Z to protect your home from the rain.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Thank you to Garrett Padell of CBSSports.com. Brent Beard, you see him locally on First Coast News. You also get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark. He joins me coming up in less than 10 minutes. Interesting for Florida basketball, they play Texas A&M on Saturday night, and what is still a humongous game in the Southeastern Conference, but A&M loses tonight to Alabama, 100-97. High-scoring game, obviously. So Texas A&M and Florida are now tied, 7-2 in the conference. You got Kentucky, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, and Tennessee all a game back at 6-3. But with A&M's loss tonight, that means the winner of Florida and Texas A&M on Saturday in College Station will have sole possession of first place in the Southeastern Conference as we enter the middle portion of February. So an absolutely enormous game for the Gators and the Aggies. Again, A&M does lose tonight to Alabama, 100-97. We'll talk to Brent about Florida basketball, about their huge win over Alabama on Sunday. We'll spend some time on Darian Mensah going to Miami. The Hurricanes go from Cam Ward to Carson Beck to now Darian Mensah in the last 3 years as their last 3 starting quarterbacks. And the big news of the week that started back on Monday, Gus Malzahn retiring as Florida State's offensive coordinator. What does that mean for the Seminoles moving forward? What does that mean for Mike Norvell moving forward? A lot to get into, and let's get into it, again, with my buddy Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You get him weekly here as well on Hacker After Dark. As we're with you till 10 o'clock, Jacksonville. We're glad you're with us here in Northeast Florida on a Wednesday night. It is Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
I did not see this one coming. Radio play-by-play is like stepping in a theater in your mind.
As good as it gets.
1010XL, Jacksonville's home for play-by-play.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for the Blue Crab Crab House. February means the Mardi Gras menu returns to the Blue Crab Crab House. Gumbo, shrimp Orleans, blackened redfish, appetizers, dessert, and more. This includes, of course, their regular menu where you get crabs from the Alaskan waters, the Canadian waters, the Southern Georgia waters. It's only at the Blue Crab Crab House. Doors open at 4:30, San Jose, and, of course, Julington Creek Road.
Checkmate. I'm Brendan Cecilia, founder of Checkmate Coatings.
And I'm Chester, company mascot at your service.
There are 2 important steps to installing the perfect garage floor. The 2-stage coating application, sure, but nothing is more important than preparing the floor. Our team uses diamond grinding machines to grind your floors to a smooth, level finish. Only then can we...
Hold on! You grind garage floors with perfectly lovely diamonds?
No, Chester. We grind floors to perfection using the very best ugly diamonds. Too ugly for jewelry, but perfect for the grinding pads we use to prep the surface.
Perfect preparation and application. Now that's a perfect marriage.
Ugly diamonds?
Check. Perfect preparation?
Check. Smooth, gorgeous, gleaming floors that really catch your eye? Checkmate!
Transforming your floors, making them great. Checkmate.
Visit checkmatecoatings.com.
Get your tickets for the Tom Coughlin J Fund Wine Tasting Gala. Join Super Bowl winning coach Tom Coughlin at VyStar Ballpark Thursday, March 5th and raise a glass to help local families tackling childhood cancer. Enjoy hundreds of wines from around the world and food from top local restaurants. Buy tickets and learn more at tcjfund.org/wine. tcjfund.org/wine.
Are you ready to reclaim your backyard? Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, Surfside Pools is the trusted name for expert pool design. Family owned and operated, they offer pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools transform your backyard into the oasis that you crave. Are you ready to float happy? Visit surfsidepools.net or call 246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, where luxury meets leisure.
License number CPC 044080.
Hi, this is Dale Murray with Murray Automotive Group in Stark and Kingsland. Save yourself from those big city dealers and their fast-talking mumbo-jumbo. No matter what your automotive need is, we've got you covered. Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and nobody beats our prices. I mean nobody. Shazam! Plus our exclusive 15-year, 150,000-mile warranty included on every qualified vehicle. And we'll trade anything from high heels to wagon wheels. Compare our prices online at ShazamAuto.com. Then come see me, Dale Murray. I'll be waiting for you. Shazam!
Are you ready for another historic season at the bank? It's time to lock in your seats for 2026 by placing your deposit now. Next season will be played at Everbank Stadium, but seating capacity is limited due to in-bowl renovations, and spots are going fast. Don't miss out on your chance to see the season's biggest matchups and highlight real moments by placing your deposit at jaguars.com/tickets or by calling 904-633-2000. Go Jags!
This is Frank Frangie for the farm in Okefenokee. Can you imagine owning a handcrafted cabin tucked into a 1,000-acre regenerative farm? Imagine enjoying fresh produce from the garden, fruit from the orchard, meats from the smokehouse. Every meal is a true farm-to-table experience all year long. Belong to a place where your family can choose nature over screens, spending their days feeding animals, picking berries, and fishing in the farm's pond. Learn more at okefarm.com. That's OKEfarm.com.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees, about $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by May 14th.
Spring is almost here. Is your yard ready? Lucas Tree Service, a family-owned business with over 45 years of experience, is your local certified arborist for tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for residential or commercial properties. Protect your home, boost your curb appeal, and get top-notch service from a Jacksonville company. Make sure your trees are healthy and safe before summer hits. Schedule your tree inspection today at lucastreeservice.com.
Let's talk about the sound no homeowner wants to hear. Drip, drip, drip. Still dripping. That's exactly why Duck Duck Rooter created the Love Your Pipes promotion. Plumbing problems don't scare us. Not with years of experience and honest upfront pricing on our side. Right now, you can get free plumbing assessment on all fixtures with any paid plumbing service. It's the smart move to fix the issue now before it becomes bigger. So when you're stuck, call the Duck, 904-862-6769, duckduckrooter.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. There's always news going on the college athletics front and here in the state of Florida. Well, let's see. Gus Malzahn retires in Tallahassee. What does that mean for Mike Norvell and the Seminoles moving forward? The Miami Hurricanes have a brand new quarterback, and the Florida Gators just scored 72 points in the paint in an absolute dismantling of Alabama in college basketball. Let's talk about all of it with my buddy Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News, and you also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Mr. Beard, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, good to be with you again, Hank. Always something going on, is it not? We see a lot of coaches that they think about their future, and they said, well, this may be a good time to go out. So I think we're seeing some of that, along with it's kind of an interesting period before the things really get going for spring practice, which will basically be starting next month. That's amazing too, is it not?
It really is. It never really stops. And obviously the big news this week was Gus Malzahn calling it a career after 35 years in coaching, both in high school and college. Brent, there's a lot of avenues to go down this one, but first and foremost, were you surprised that Malzahn called it a career?
To a degree, yes. I mean, things just, I think really he got out of UCF before the posse was formed, frankly, and he went to kind of as a stopgap to Florida State to be the coordinator there offensively, and then he decided that it was just time. So after 35 years, I certainly can understand that. I mean, he was, had a pretty decent record, 2 SEC championship games that his team appeared in, 1 SEC championship, and 1 national championship game before he was fired in 2020. So it was. Could you say, Hank, it was kind of a roller coaster of a career, was it not?
No, it was. To me, though, Brent, the timing is odd. I mean, the season ended for Florida State the Saturday after Thanksgiving. I mean, we're talking over 2 months, and then he calls it a career on Groundhog Day on Monday. I mean, the timing of it's odd, is it not?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he probably had thought about that. So over the last few months, and we'll get into this in a minute, but what that does to Florida State is certainly interesting. Malzahn was one of these guys. I would say Malzahn was not a great coach. He was an average to good coach. Timing is everything in life. And the offense that he ran, that he was successful with early on at Auburn, really has kind of run its course to some degree with all the eye candy that he had. And a lot of times, what depended on his success was how good his quarterback was. That's what made the difference. And obviously, when you've got somebody like Cam Newton, you can be pretty successful, to say the least. So he certainly had an interesting career, and it'll be interesting to see kind of what he does at this point. But I mean, he really has gone the gamut from being a very successful high school coach to coaching in the SEC and coaching at UCF.
You see Brent Beard on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. The reports are coming out that Mike Norvell will assume the play calling duties. They did promote Harris to the offensive coordinator role, but it looks like Norvell will reassume play calling duties, something he's certainly done before there at Florida State. Look, I think my thought on this is that if Norvell knows he's on the hot seat, which he is, and I think everybody knows that, including himself, that he wants to be the play caller, and if the ship's going to go down, Brent, he wants to be the captain of the ship. I mean, he wants to go down with his terms, and assuming play calling duties, I'm sure gives him the opportunity to maybe try to dig himself out of this hole.
Oh yeah, and it's not like he hasn't done it before. When he was at Memphis, he was a primary play caller then, and also at Florida State from 22 to 24. So now, obviously, in 24, it didn't go very well at that point at all. So the reality is that I think you hit it. If you're going to lose your job, you at least want to be the guy who is making the decisions along the way. So, I mean, it's not like he hadn't done it before. He certainly has. But it will be this is going to be a very, very interesting season. I mean, I've talked to FSU fans like you have. Their biggest fear, Hack, is this thing goes off the rails in late September, mid-October, and Norvell gets fired at some point during the season, and the fans are going to say, well, we should have gotten rid of him last year, and at this point we would have been starting over. So it's a risk either way, is it not?
Yeah, Gator fans know all about that, right? With Billy
really.
Napier, that's basically the exact thing that happened a year ago. And right, I've talked to a couple Florida State media members this week, and they're actually asking, is Norvell going to survive through October? I mean, that's the expectation coming into the season for Florida State. It's not a good spot to be in. A couple more for Brent Beard. You see him on First Coast News. You get him weekly here as well on Hacker After Dark. Look, the Miami Hurricanes played a football game 2 weeks ago, but that wheel keeps spinning. You got to keep moving along as the dates go by, and you got to get ready for 2026. And they're off to next season already, and they got a brand new quarterback. And look, they've gone from Cam Ward to Carson Beck, and now they've hit the portal again, Brent, and they've brought in one of the better players in the portal, and Darian Mensah from Duke, who got out of his Duke agreement, I guess. Some courts got involved, and you hate when that happens, but ultimately he's a free man, and he goes to Miami, and his 30 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions last year goes with him, and obviously there's a lot of expectations on Mensah going into Miami for this next upcoming season.
People would wonder, well, why would you get a guy out of Duke? Well, you get a guy out of Duke because in the numbers Hank mentioned, the 30-something touchdown and 6 interceptions, I mean, that's a tremendous touchdown-interception ratio. He also threw for basically 4,000 yards, and he was a starter at Tulane. People may have forgotten that. And
with John Sumrall.
Yeah, he was. Excellent point. He threw for 2,700 yards, 27 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. And one of his better receivers at Duke, Marcotte, and I may be mispronouncing that, 1,000-yard receiver is coming with him to Miami. So I give Miami a lot of credit. I mean, they are doing all they can with quarterback transfers to be good, and we think Mensah is going to be another one. Look, I'm not saying that Miami won't skip a beat because they will have some transition, and maybe even replacing Reuben Bain and Akeem Mesidor is the biggest transition of all, Hank, but they certainly did themselves well. And real quickly, to your point, Duke and Miami made this less bloody than it was. They both kind of signed off that Mensah would go ahead and go to Miami, even though he had time left at Duke. And it really was probably good that it didn't get to be more of a legal battle than it was about to be. So that's going to be fascinating, isn't it, Hack? And as far as to see how he does and how quickly they can transition in Coral Gables.
I wanted John Sumrall to look at him at Florida, and then the thought was he might go into the draft, and then the thought was, well, he had re-signed with Duke, and then he wanted out of there to go to Miami. It got a little messy, but as you said, not as messy as it could have. But ultimately, he ends up at Miami, and John Sumrall in Florida get Aaron Philo to compete with Tramel Jones there with Florida. Speaking of Florida, Brent, in the time we have left, let's go to the hardwood. What a game for the Gators on Sunday against your alma mater, Alabama. Florida scores 72 points in the paint. Brent, you've covered college basketball for a long time. Have you ever seen a team score 100 points and only make 3 3-pointers in a game?
No.
I mean, that is a crazy stat.
It really is. But at some point, you have to realize who you are. And they're not a real good shooting team at all. So if you can't shoot threes, what are you going to do? And you go down the paint, and they've got the guys in order to do it. Hall and Condon and Chinelu and I mean that group combined 63 points and 31 rebounds. Now, you mentioned Boogie Fland a minute ago. Oh, his total was 15 points, 8 assists, 8 steals, and get this, Hack, maybe the best of all, 1 turnover.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really amazing how well they're playing right now. I think they're the best team in the league, frankly. And the SEC is down somewhat this year, but they're still very good. And then the steals, Florida 13, Alabama 1. Now, while they've got their head up in the clouds, what maybe helps Florida is they're basically off most of the week to kind of get, I guess, academics out of the way, or at least in order, and then they will practice. That Florida coaching staff keeps them on their toes. And heck, I don't know if they're playing as well as they were last year down the stretch, but boy, they're sure close to it, aren't they?
They are, and I'll give credit to Todd Golden. I mean, obviously, he's a national championship winning coach, so we know he's very good. But you come off a national title, you lose your top 4 guards, 3 to the NBA and 1 to your arch rival in the transfer portal and Denzel Aberdeen, and you start the year 5-4. And you can't win a close game to save your life. You're losing by 1 to Duke and a bucket to UConn and 6 to Arizona. I mean, it was brutal. They were losing in heartbreaking fashion. And even the first conference game, they lose to Missouri by a bucket. And they're 9-5, and you think, well, this just isn't our year. You know, you could go, woe is me. But they did the exact opposite of that. They have gotten so much better in the last month or so. They've won 10 out of 12, including 7 out of 8 in the conference, and now they sit 16-6, 7-2 overall. I thought it's been a very, very good coaching job by that staff.
And listen, this is a complete team, or they have made this a complete team. I mean, you've got really good guards, and you've got a front court. Hank, with their big, does anybody have the bigs that they do? I mean, when you can go minimum 6, 7 deep in your front court, there's a lot you can do. Chinelu, at this point, arguably could be the SEC Player of the Year. How well it is done. Boogie Fland, as we mentioned, has very few turnovers. That has made a huge difference with them. There was a stretch in the Alabama game to where Florida had a block or a steal. And look, Alabama's not chopped liver. Alabama's a decent basketball school now, but Florida had a block or a steal in 8 straight possessions. Heck, you remember that happening anytime recently?
No, it's the defense is absolutely crazy. And you mentioned Florida being off, and it's good to get a little bit of rest because they got a huge one on Saturday with Texas A&M. I mean, for conference games in February, this is a big one. And like you and I have talked about, Brent, as we wrap up here, Florida's goal, if you're a Gator fan, don't worry about being a number 1 seed or a number 2 seed. You need to be a top 16 team entering the tournament. Because if you're a top 16 team, the odds are you're going to Tampa in the round of 64 and the round of 32, and you'll be basically a home game in the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament. That's Florida's goal, and the way they're playing, Brent, I'd be shocked if they didn't achieve that.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned that because that's worth repeating, that your first 2 games are in Tampa. And Tampa is really becoming a Gator hotbed in a lot of ways. And people may not realize this. The national championship game in football is going to be played in Tampa coming up before the end of the decade. So that's really worth repeating about how exciting it. And look, I think, I know Florida's played Tampa before. They've done pretty well. I think this will be a sellout, and there will be some incredible excitement for Gator basketball in Tampa.
Brent, give us 60 seconds. We're going over, but I got to get a quick thought from you. This week, the first Wednesday in February, once upon a time, was a huge day, right? National Signing Day. I remember it was one of the biggest days on the college football calendar, and it's been obliterated by the early signing period and NIL. It's kind of a shame in a way, is it not?
It is. I mean, there's so many good memories. You and I have done radio on that day together. But look, the reality is with the early signing period, I'm not saying it's made it obsolete, but it's pretty close. You've got a lot of shows that used to be on radio and television that really probably won't be on, or they'll be very abbreviated at this point. But the proverbial hay is in the barn, isn't it, Hank? By the time you get around to February, and I'll be very interested to see what the powers to be do with National Signing Day coming up in the next few years. I think that could be changed like a lot of other things in college sports.
You see Brent Beard on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Brent, thank you as always, my friend. We'll do it again next week.
Good. Look forward to it, bud. Take care.
And thank you to my buddy Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Some interesting times for Florida State with the retirement of Gus Malzahn, what that means for them moving forward. Darian Mensah going from Duke to Miami, and it's now 3 years in a row where you could argue Miami got the best transfer quarterback out of the portal, from Cam Ward to Carson Beck to now Darian Mensah. And then Gator basketball absolutely just destroying Alabama last week, and now getting ready for a big game against Texas A&M on Saturday. One of the hottest teams in America, one of the hottest teams in the Southeastern Conference, and first place will be on the line in the SEC. You got A&M, who is leading the conference. You got Florida right behind them, and that'll be a big one in College Station on Saturday evening. Well, we talked a lot about that, certainly. We certainly spent a lot of time on the Super Bowl, Seahawks and Patriots on Sunday. Now you really start getting down to it, right? A lot of the media obligations are starting to go away. Now you're really focusing on the game as we are 4 days away from kickoff. And then certainly talked about the Jaguars, Devin Lloyd in the Pro Bowl last night. Will that be the last time he wears a Jaguar uniform, as free agency is just a little over a month away? So there is a lot going on, and we're certainly glad you spent part of your Wednesday evening with us here on Hacker After Dark. We have a ton of people to thank for tonight's show. Again, my buddy Brent Beard, you see him locally on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Thank you to Garrett Podell of CBSSports.com for stopping by. Always enjoy talking Jags and looking around the rest of the NFL with Garrett Podell. And then back in hour number one, Leon Searcy, former Pro Bowl offensive tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You get him every day on primetime, and we're always lucky enough to have him weekly during the season right here with us on Hacker After Dark. Now, we will be back tomorrow night on a Thursday, and we will do it all over again beginning at 8 o'clock. Aaron Williams was your producer tonight. Aaron, great job as always. I'm the Hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending part of your Wednesday evening with us right here on Hacker After Dark, on 1010XL, and on 92.5 FM. So for all of us here on HAD, have a terrific remainder of your Wednesday evening, and we will talk to you again tomorrow night on a Thursday beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then, good night.